Hello, Gorak. Are you ready to review the cult classic, Seed of Chucky?
Dude, that's just one more thing. That was the longest 30 seconds of my life for that intro.
I mean, that's what all the ladies tell me. That's the longest 30 seconds of my life.
Because I haven't seen that intro in so long. Because normally you will
Yeah.
see it like in Ryan Roxie's podcasting before he goes on, but it feels like it just went on and on and on. But yes, I'm very excited about this movie because I'm the one that brought it up to you because I
Yeah.
watched it on my lunch break at work the
Like,
other
what's
day.
crazy is this movie, it came out in 2004. Now, it wasn't my first Child's Play movie watching, um, but it was the first Child's Play movie I remember being in theaters. Because
Okay.
when Bride of Chucky came out, it was what, 98? Wasn't
I
it?
think so.
It was
I
about
think
98.
so. Need to
I
check that
was
up.
Hold on, let me double check because I believe Bride of Chucky was 98. And I was about two, three, four, five. Yeah, it was 98. I was only like 6 years old. So I don't really remember that being in theaters. I was a teen when Seed of Chucky came out. So that was the
Yeah.
Child's Play movie that I remember when I was young. Now, here's a fun little fact. We're going to throw in facts about this movie in there on and off. Um, Seed of Chucky was the last Child's Play movie of the original trilogy to be in theaters. It was the last one that we saw that actually saw theaters. The rest of them were straight to like streaming, straight to DVD. None of them saw theater times, except for I believe the remake was in a few theaters. It was in our theaters. I know that much.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was in here. Because I remember I went and saw it when it came out.
But as for the original trilogy, it's the last one in the original trilogy that we saw. Now, the movie, let's start off with the beginning of the movie because I thought it was kind of it's very weird intro to a child's play. Well, it's not child's play, it's a Chucky movie. There is a difference amongst the fandom. Child's play movies are the original the horror movies, and then you have the Chucky movies that follow his family. Well, the intro starts off like any good horror movie starts off. You have the blood dripping scene. You know what I mean? The very beginning, the
Yeah,
blood
yeah.
dripping. Instead, due to it being about conception, it is semen dripping down the screen. Which some people would be like, "Oh, that's kind of childish," but it's in good fun. What did you think of that intro? Do you think it was a dumb to have?
Well, the first time I watched it, uh, almost a week ago on my lunch break, because I've seen all of them, but this popped up on Netflix, and I just wanted to watch a cheesy, lame horror movie on my lunch break to kill some time. And yeah, when I saw the semen in the intro,
Like
I
it
was
follows
just
through the
like, yeah, just like, um, I was just like, well, what the fuck is that? But I guess it works. It works for the movie.
So the movie started off with the semen scene, and then it went into like a scene where this girl is gifted. You don't get to see the doll at first, but this girl is gifted this doll,
Yeah.
and you see like the doll is in the hallway, and the dad walks up the steps, picks up the doll, is like, "I told you not to forget your doll." Blah blah blah. The doll kills him, and then we are introduced to Glenn, which at the time is shitface. It's not. It don't even have a name. Uh,
Yeah.
we're not introduced to Glenn or Glenda as a name until he or she meets the parents, and we get into that later. But we were introduced to Shitface. Let's just call it Shitface for now. Shitface wakes up from a dream because Shitface keeps having reoccurring dreams of killing people, even though Shitface does not have a tendency to kill and doesn't understand why they keep having this dream of killing people.
Yeah.
Well, then Shitface has this puppeteer. I forget his name. Do you remember the puppeteer's name?
That dude?
I don't remember his name. I've seen it listed in multiple things that I've read, but I forget his name.
I can't remember either.
But the puppeteer is trying to get Shitface to be more like violent and be more entertaining on the show and unleash the violent tendencies. And Shitface ends up escaping, ends up seeing on TV. I'm kind of like summarizing what the parts are because there's a lot of like filler shit that don't really matter to the story. Shitface escapes, sees on a little TV screen what Shitface thinks is the parents, but it's actually automatronics, but it's for a new. What's the name of the movie that they're working on? Chucky does something. Chucky.
It was like an urban legend of Chucky or something like that.
Yeah, they're working on.
It was like Chucky and Jennifer.
Yeah, they have like a movie they're working on. Now, we see a cool death scene in the movie. Was that before or after we see this? Is this after Chucky's brought back to life? Because there's a death scene with Santa.
No.
Remember that?
So the Santa Claus part, that got me. I thought it was part of the movie when,
Oh, yeah, that's part of the fake movie. Okay, I remember now.
Yeah. But it wasn't. But this was before.
The guy that played the role of Santa in that scene actually has said in several interviews that he thought that his career was over. He's like, what have I done to be in this movie being killed by a fake Chucky? But yeah, the Chucky, sorry, I misremembered. The Chucky was for the commercial for the movie. Shitface sees the automatronics on TV talking about the movie, which is not actually Chucky yet. We'll get to that later. But notices a made in Japan logo on the hand. Shitface sees it on their hand, makes the connection. That's my parents. So the orphan now knows who the parents are. But that scene kind of doesn't make sense, but kind of does at the same time, because Chucky was not made in Japan, if you remember, if you followed the trilogy at all. Chucky was actually made at the Play Pal Toys factory in Chicago, which was mentioned in the Child's Play 1 and 2 films in 1988 and 1990. But this is a direct sequel to Bride of Chucky, which Chucky was destroyed, and Tiffany made his head and like used old toy parts and shit, and that's where the Made in Japan comes. But the part that doesn't make sense to me is I understand they're humans now, they're able to produce children, blah, 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 blah. But the Made in Japan thing is not an original part. So wouldn't Shitface be actually related to whichever doll that part belonged to? Or is that now just a part of Chucky, and then he became more human with it, and it became hereditary to Shitface? That part didn't make sense to me, but I'm overthinking, and that's what I do.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Who knows? Like, maybe it's brand new parts that they put on him, Or maybe it's a different version of Chucky that's been possessed.
Yeah, and then it kind of
instead
became
of
human.
The old one. Yeah. What I thought was really funny in that movie, though, is when Shitface or Glenn was running.
We'll get to the name later.
Yeah, was running away from that guy when he got out of the cage. I thought that was hilarious because you see this little fucking ranger doll running, and he hops at the back of the truck.
Now the next, I'm kind of going scene for scene from what I remember, and I'm trying to go in order. So correct me if there's anything else that you remember, because I watched the movie 3 times, but I still need to watch it more because there's so much to the movie. There's so many layers, and it's a good movie. I know a lot of people don't like it, but here's
one of those movies where you can just get a bunch of friends, and pizza and just chill and watch it, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, here's a fun fact, though. Back to the dream sequence where Shitface was killing that family. That scene where the shower curtain opens up and you see that topless woman and Shitface kills the topless woman in the dream sequence. That actually means that this Child's Play movie is actually the only Child's Play movie to contain nudity as of 2016.
Oh wow!
It was the first one and the last one. I don't know if any of the recent ones have. I know Child's Play the remake didn't, but yeah, it's the only one. And also, due to that, it actually originally received an NC-17 rating, but it later was changed to unrated.
Wow,
yeah, it was later
I didn't know
unrated.
that. See, it was I think it was MA rated here, so our ratings are different to you guys.
Yep. They are much different, but in the United States, it was NC-17 rating, but they changed it to unrated. And I think that's interesting, too.
Yeah.
Also, if you noticed, we're going to get into this. Shitface ends up finding out who the parents are, ends up finding out they're in L.A. Shitface has this necklace that was given to them that has the chant on it that brings them back to life. So they end up going there. Shitface thinks it's a greeting. It was like, Mom, Dad, why aren't you talking? Ends up reading this chant, thinking it's to say hi or whatever. Brings Chucky to life, Tiffany to life, which means this is the first Child's Play movie where you have soul revival without a body.
Yeah.
It's the first movie where you can actually have Chucky's soul brought into a doll without even having a fucking physical body. Which also brings to mention, you're going to notice while watching this movie, it is the first movie ever where Chucky does not mention or nobody mentions Charles Lee Ray, the original killer. It is also fun to note that it is the first Child's Play movie to not use the original good guy voice.
It was somebody else?
No, they didn't have the good guy voice. It was just Chucky being Chucky. He never did the, hi, I'm Chucky, want to play? He never did that. It was the first.
Like he was going to. I think I think like Chucky in the last couple of movies was leaning towards more of the human side.
Yeah, but what's fun to note though is Cult of Chucky and Curse of Chucky are both direct sequels to these movies too, and he uses the good guy voice at least once in those movies. So that's fun to note too. It's the only Child's Play movie without the good guy voice. And then we are introduced, after Chucky's brought to life or whatever, we are introduced to the real life Tiffany, Jennifer Tilly, who plays herself, which is a fun note. Yeah. It's a fun note because Chucky's kind of doing an ode to Scream in a way, where like there's a movie within a movie, and Jennifer Tilly is trying out for the role of Virgin Mary. We are introduced then to Redman, who is Redman.
Yep.
Who's working on a Virgin Mary movie. Now, here is or is it a musical? Is it like a movie or is it? It's a movie, I do believe.
Definitely a movie because they were rehearsing their lines. And she was like saying that, I'm too fat and all that shit.
Yeah, well, she mentioned that later. That was mentioned later. We will get to that. But yeah, it was a movie. We're introduced to Redman. Jennifer Tilly has a love interest thing with her limousine driver, which we find out when Chucky and Tiffany are in the back of the limousine with shit.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. How did I get up there and open the door and stick at the back? That's what
that didn't make sense. There's a lot of things that don't make sense in this movie. If you're an overthinker, don't watch this movie if you're an overthinker and a Child's Play fan.
Unless if they played stack-ons with each other.
Now, I did miss an important plot twist before they got in the limousine. Shitface reveals that, hey, I'm your child, and then Chucky's like, "Ooh, Glenn, my son," and then Tiffany's like, "Glenn's a weird name for a girl. It's Glenda, blah, 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 blah." And they pull down the pants, reveal.
Yeah.
They don't know the gender of the child. It's Glenn or Glenda, which is a very interesting thing for 2004 because the trans issue wasn't as big as it is now. But according to the guy that made the movie, directed the movie. Now, here's another interesting fact. This is the first film of the Chucky franchise that was directed by openly gay writer Don Mancini, who wrote all of the Chucky films besides the remake. So he's been with the series this entire time.
Which is good.
So it's good. It's weird because it's his first directing movie and it's nothing like the others.
Yeah.
Which is a very interesting thing. But he actually created Glenn and Glenda, the sexually confused character, not about the trans issue per se, which it can be interpreted that way now. It's actually a metaphor about his own coming out of the closet. So that's a very interesting take. But yeah, we find out that Glenda is, we don't know what, and neither does Glenn or Glenda. And then Glenn or Glenda's like, but I'm shitface. And Tiffany is like, no, you're sweetface. Yeah. Which is kind of an ode to Bride of Chucky, because she called somebody else Sweetface in Bride of Chucky, which is a cool take. But we end up in the back of the limousine. We find out about the love interest between the limousine driver, and the limousine driver has his hand on her leg, getting ready to tell her that his feelings for her. But she's on the phone and she's talking about how she's going to meet with Redman, which kind of makes the limousine driver turn away. And she's like, it's just business. She goes to Redman's house. And that's when Chucky and Tiffany come up with this ultimate idea where, hey, I'm going to take Jennifer Tilly's body. And Chucky's like, who am I going to be? You're going to be Redman, which isn't the first time Chucky tried possessing an African-American, by the way. He tried it. It's the second time. I believe he tried it in either Child's Play 3 or Bride. I forget which one. But he tried it in another Child's Play movie, which is a fun ode to that. Then Shitface, Sweetface, Glenda, whatever you want to call the child, is like, what about me? And they're like, we're going to artificially inseminate Jennifer Tilly using Chucky's sperm, which is weird because wouldn't a doll come out? Wouldn't a doll come out of that? But we'll get to that later.
But that was beyond weird. But my favorite scene in that part when he was like jerking off was that photographer and he was taking pictures and he's like, oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
He's like,
I was going to get to that next because that's a fun take because Chucky's masturbating in the window. There's a photographer. Now, that photographer is played by legendary actor, director, writer John Waters. And his movies are actually done in a very similar vein than Child's Play, where like you have like sexuality in question and shit. And actually, the guy that directed this movie knew John Waters was a huge Chucky fan. So he decided, hey, since this is like a John Waters type movie, will he be in it? And he said yes. As long as he gets to be killed by Chucky. So we'll get to that later. Chucky's jerking off at the window. This guy's taking pictures. Nice, blah, blah, blah. Chucky gets the sperm. They end up drugging Jennifer Tilly and Redman while they're at the dinner table. I'm not really missing any important parts. They wake up the next morning. Jennifer Tilly's like, I don't know what happened last night. Redman's like, I remember a lot of screaming.
Yeah.
And then Jennifer Tilly goes on about her day. She finds out she's pregnant. Chucky then, while she's figuring out that shit, Chucky then goes to this photographer's place. We go to the photographer's place, and he's looking at this screen or whatever. Now, during the whole sequence of the table, I'm sorry there's a lot to this, so I'm going to kind of bounce back and forth. During the dinner sequence while they're in the bathroom, due to them having a kid, Tiffany and Chucky both promise to overcome their addiction of killing. So we have addiction in this for the child's sake. So fast forward, we are where the pictures are being put up by John Waters' character, who is a TMZ type guy. He's looking at the midget photo a little bit, and he's like, what is that? And he starts looking closer and closer, and then he hears a and he turns around, and there's the Chucky doll. And he's like, fuck. And then he turns around and looks at the picture. Now, I would have like been like, fuck that doll, I'm leaving. But no, he turns around, looks at the picture, and notices that the midget is actually Chucky.
Yeah.
He turns around, Chucky then, hi Kitty, thanks for joining us in the chat. Chucky then proceeds to kill the John Waters character by using acid. Well, actually, isn't it Shitface that accidentally kills the guy?
No, so what happens was, I think Shitface just turned around, like sneaked up from behind, and he turned around and he freaked
Oh
out.
no! From what I remember now. I watched it last night.
He freaked out. Then he leaned back on the shelf, and the acid fell on his face. And then Chucky was like, "You just killed a man," or some shit like that.
Yeah, Chucky was going to kill him. Shitface yelled, or Glinda or Glenn, whatever, yelled, "No!" He turned around. The pure sight of Glinda or whatever scared the hell out of him, and he killed himself. That's what happened. Chucky then took a picture with him. It was a nice father-son-daughter moment.
And the look on his face, though, Glenda's face was just like, what did I just do? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
and then we later on go back to the whole Redman Tiffany situation. Oh, Jennifer Tilly, I should say. Jennifer Tilly situation. This is hard to keep up with because Jennifer Tilly plays Tiffany, who also...
Which is kind of weird.
Which means, if I'm not mistaken, Tiffany's trying to get into Jennifer Tilly's body is what we are at the point of right now. And that's why they impregnated Jennifer Tilly. Doesn't that mean that Tiffany is trying to possess her own body?
Sounds like it.
But anyway...
Because, like, it's her voice in that doll, too. You know that.
Yeah. Well, what's weird is then we get to the scene where they're all at the table again. And Chucky and Jennifer and Tiffany is in the building, and Tiffany is talking to Chucky about how Jennifer Tilly's a hoe, blah 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 blah. Redman, they find out, is a complete piece of shit because at the table, Jennifer Tilly is like, "I'm pregnant," and he's like, "Well, I can't have you have the role because I need my Virgin Mary to be hot." And Jennifer Tilly's like, "She's pregnant in the movie," and he's like, "I don't care." So Jennifer Tilly gets up and is like, "I hope you drop dead." Little does she realize Chucky is actually under the table, stabbing his insides out.
Right, no, that was Jennifer.
Oh, that was Tiffany. That was Tiffany.
Tiffany.
Yeah, that was
Tiffany.
It
was like, "Oh, I hope you drop dead," and just drops dead, and he's got intestines.
Because the reasoning why Tiffany did that is because she was on the phone with a guy for it was like a addiction hotline. And the dude's like, "It gets messy," and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, "Oh, one little slip because Rome wasn't built in a day," and goes and kills this guy. That's right. I'm glad I have you because, like, I have a tendency of watching movies, but, like, there's so much going on in, like, an hour and a half, I forget certain things. But, yeah, it was Tiffany that killed him. And now Glenn saw this, too, and, like, my parents are fucking still killing. So Redman's dead. They hide him in a closet. We don't find that out till later. Then the next sequence, what happens next, Greg? I'll let you take over.
Next sequence. I'm just going
next important sequence. Because there's a lot
Isn't
of
that when? Okay, we can move forward, but then didn't Shitface is like, "Why can't I be both?"
Yeah, why can't I be both?
And then he just had that drag look on his face with the makeup.
That's too far ahead because we're skipping another good part.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember the whole fucking thing, even though I watched it like a few days ago.
Well, there's so much that goes on that you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Now, interesting take. There is a scene of the movie where Chucky's driving and he gets annoyed with a driver on the road.
Yes. I remember that part, and you know what it was?
It's supposedly Britney Spears, but it's actually Britney Spears lookalike.
Yeah, but I love the line when he pushes her off the cliff and the car explodes. I did it again.
Yeah, if you watch this credits, they had to put the credits that Britney Spears was not in this movie. They actually had to put that in the credits. You want to know a fun fact before we go further, since we introduced Redman already? Did you know that he wasn't originally asked to play that role?
Not really. Who was it?
Quentin Tarantino. Yes. They got a hold of Quentin Tarantino, and his management company turned it down. But the role was originally made for Redman, but they wanted Quentin. But it went to Redman, the original idea.
No, that's good because he was pretty good in that movie for like his parts. Like, could you see Buster Rhymes?
No. But I got a question. Since we're going further, we just talked about Redman being killed and his insides being spilled, and they hid him because Jennifer Tilly didn't know he was dead yet. The next sequence is kind of a little confusing. Jennifer Tilly goes about her day. Chucky is like, well, we have to wait 9 months. Tiffany then says, well, doll babies have a different birth way. So Jennifer Tilly's really fucking big, like almost 8 months pregnant, getting ready to birth. Chucky and Tiffany ends up kidnapping her somehow. I forget how. They have her strapped to a bed.
They knock her out. She saw she was running, screaming, and I think it was Chucky threw something out of the back of the head.
Oh yeah, you reminded me. Yes, that is correct.
And then he said something that was dragging his fuck, she's fat or something like that.
Yeah. Because Tiffany was like, we can either do this the easy way or the hard way. And she's like, you picked the hard way and threw the bottle. That's right. And have her strapped to the bed. And then we discover that Chucky and Tiffany are having an argument while she's strapped to the bed because of Glenn or Glenda and blah, 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 blah. And Chucky's like, well, whose body am I going to possess? Because they just discovered that Redman was dead. Redman fell out of the closet. And he's like, you killed her? Well, it's okay. I've got several skeletons in my closet too, and blah, 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 and has all these dead bodies, which is cool too. I don't know how he got fucking John Waters' body all the way to this house when he's just a little body, but let's not overthink.
See, that's a lot of explaining to do on those ones.
But they discover all these skeletons in the closet. They're arguing about it, and then we reveal that the killer side of Glenn is Glenda, who is the female who's dressed in all drag. Who did Glenda kill, though? I forget.
He killed Chucky.
Yeah, he killed Chucky, but there's something that happened. He was in a hospital. There's something that happened. Happened.
He didn't kill anyone. I think it was either...
No, Glenda did kill someone. I remember.
Was it the limo driver?
Yes.
I thought it would have been Chucky that stabbed him.
No, I forget who Glenda killed because I remember vaguely what caused the transition to show that it's Glenda in that room was that Glenda killed somebody.
It probably would have been the limo driver. Oh no, it was his friend.
It was somebody, but I believe it was in like self-defense or something. I forget what it was. But somebody died at the hands of Glenda. We reveal that Glenda is the killer.
Okay. I can't remember. I know Jennifer's friend got torched or something.
Oh, no. I remember now. Chucky was like, whose body am I going to possess? And it's the limo driver.
Yeah.
And they strap the limo driver to the bed, and then they kill the limo driver, meaning that Chucky don't have a body. And it's revealed that Glenda is the killer doll. It's weird that we don't remember much when we've watched it this much, but we remember the important parts. But the limo driver died. Glenda's revealed as the evil side of the character.
Yeah.
But then Glenda then kills Chucky. Then the children are born, but the children are twins.
Yeah.
Now, my memory might be wrong. Chucky might have been killed after the children were born, but they're twins.
No. The twins were born, and then the cops came in.
Oh, yeah.
They set her free. She was saying, my babies, look after my babies or whatever. Then she worked up in the hospital. Jennifer Chucky was there because they wanted to possess her body.
Yeah.
So Jennifer drugged her again or something like that in the drip.
Oh, yeah, I remember now.
And then Glenda starts coming out saying he didn't want to be like him or something like that and got the axe with actually he did a few karate moves, which was I thought
Oh,
that was
yeah.
pretty funny in a movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just jumping and he was like that.
Yeah,
I thought
remember.
that was cheesy as fuck.
Thanks for jogging my memory, because I remember all this shit, but for some reason I just couldn't get it out.
I remember that because when I was at work on my lunch break watching that, I was just laughing at it and people were looking at me weird.
Could you imagine if Quentin Tarantino was in this movie, though? But chopped off Chucky's arms, legs, and then eventually head.
Yeah.
Sequence.
And
then we get a sequence that's like 8 years later or something like that. And
how they're all normal.
Yeah,
like
they're all normal.
People.
And somehow we got soul splitting. We got like Glenn and Glenda in two different bodies. Glenda's the terrifying one that always gets in trouble. They're worried about her. Glenn's the cool, like
shy kid.
Nothing. Shy kid.
Kiss his pants.
Now the part that I hated to watch because we never got a real sequel, was at the very end. Oh, Glenn, you got a gift, and handed the gift box and opened it up and Chucky's hand, and like chokes, and then it ends. Now,
actually, no, wait. It was Chucky's hand. He pissed his pants, and then
yeah, because pissing the pants is the why that kind of shows that don't want to kill, because too terrified to kill.
Yeah.
Now the character that John Waters played was Pete Peters. It was actually designed directly for him, as we stated before. I'm going to go through some facts, some that we didn't go over already. The film was actually the first one made by Rogue Pictures.
Oh wow! What was the original, like
the original company that made Child's Play?
Company, yeah.
That I believe it was Warner Brothers.
Oh wow!
I believe it was Warner Brothers. I could be mistaken. I have a friend that's big.
Maybe Disney should pick this up.
Well, I have a friend who's big. It was Universal Studios.
Okay, yeah.
They did all the sequels besides Seed of Chucky, and it was Metro Goldwyn Mayer who did the original film. They did the first movie and the remake only.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the first film done by Rogue Pictures. Fun fact, Warner Brothers was asked to do the movie originally in 1999, and they said no because they didn't like the script. And then they created Rogue Pictures, which was an off company for Warner Brothers, and Rogue Pictures agreed to do it. So the movie could have came out. The movie could have came out in 2001 or 2002.
It would have been nice to it would have been good to see a direct sequel on what happened at the ending of that movie.
Yeah, but what would you
instead of skipping it? You know what I mean?
That's kind of weird because Cult of Chucky, was it Cult or Curse that came next?
No, Cult was when a new couple moved into the house.
So that was the next sequel. I haven't seen anything after. I never seen anything after Seed. But I know that they never mentioned Seed in Cult, and it's weird because it was listed as a direct sequel to Seed, but they don't mention Seed.
Yeah. So the next one is like a new couple, and Fiona Dwarf, that's in that next movie. She plays she's like in a wheelchair, playing as like some mental patient or something like that, and then they go to this house where all the murders happen in the last movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they visit the house, but they don't. They mention the house, but they don't mention the events.
Not really, no.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah, but you have to watch it. I might have to rewatch that too.
In the Chucky TV series, they mentioned Glenn or Glenda, though. So, also, fun fact, the wife of the man Tiffany calls to apologize to about killing his wife, or killing the husband, I mean. Yeah. Remember that scene where she calls and apologizes? That is actually the widow of the cop she killed at the beginning of Bride of Chucky.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's an ode to Bride of Chucky. It's the same actress.
So he called her up to say that.
Yeah, she called him up to called her up to apologize for killing him in the last movie.
Yeah, because wasn't that? Oh no, that was the priest. That was the priest when he got his head sliced off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun fact, though, Glenn or Glenda don't want to kill, correct?
Yeah.
I can actually put a plot, like a fucking problem in this loophole. In Bride of Chucky, I know this review isn't about Bride, but you got to talk about Bride to talk about Seed.
Yeah.
At the end of Bride, we are kind of introduced to Glenn or Glenda.
Yeah.
The baby comes out and attacks the cop. Now, that is the end. That's all we see of that sergeant. Now, a lot of people can argue, well, Glenn or Glenda killed then. However, if you read the comic book that came out after that, he survived.
Okay.
Chucky actually killed him.
Yeah.
So if you consider that canon, then yes, Glenn or Glenda
Okay.
didn't technically want to kill at all. Also, a great fact about this movie is the whole gender confused child of Chucky and Tiffany.
Mm-hmm.
The name is either Glenn or Glenda. However, that's an ode to the 1953 movie Glenn or Glenda, which was a Edward D. Wood Jr. film, in which Wood himself portrayed a transvestite known as Glenn or Glenda that didn't know which one to go by.
Okay. Interesting.
And I do believe that film had two different personalities.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen. I would have loved for them to have not have had the birth sequence, like you see the children grown up and shit. I would have preferred it end right at the children being born, and you get to see the Glenn or Glenda killing side in the next movie.
Yeah.
Like,
but then you'll see at the end of the movie, the nanny. You remember the nanny was like, "Oh, your kid, you know, they misbehave and all that shit," and she came up and like whacked her over the head with the doll, shit like that.
See, I wish Hollywood would call me because I got ideas for a sequel for Seed of Chucky. Like, you can still do it with like the characters. You can have Chucky somehow be introduced back, like he's still alive, and him influence Glenda, and Glenda go after Jennifer Tilly and Glenn, and kind of like have Tiffany try to save them, or what? Well, Tiffany's in the body, never mind. But Tiffany starts saving the child and like starts killing again because of Chucky, and then she goes to prison because they think it was her that did it, because why would a doll do it? And like, you can just have a lot of plays on it, but sadly the movie never took off.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see a sequel, but
no,
it never happened. It never happened at all.
What don't make sense to me though, it's Chucky's sperm, correct? And technically that sperm would be a human sperm because he's been in the body too long. Now, the way child's play works is if you're trapped in a doll body too long, you are now stuck in that doll body. So how is he going to transfer his soul to somebody else if he's trapped in that doll body, for one? For two, that sperm, would it produce a human child like it did in the movie, or would it produce a doll child? Or a half doll, half human hybrid? We never got that answer.
No, but then I reckon hybrid.
Because we never got that answer because we never got a sequel. So there's so many unanswered questions if you think as much as I do.
Yeah.
By the way, we're not going to be doing reacts next week because I'm going to be in Missouri. I might not be able to do it because I'm going to be leaving Missouri that day.
I was listening to Jennifer Tilly's interview on Eli Roth's History of Horror podcast, and she was saying that she had big movies before the Child's Play movie, but she never really got into horror movies. And Bride of Chucky was like one of the big films, and she said the sex scene in Bride of Chucky was the first puppet sex.
Yeah,
that happened before Captain America. Team America happened.
Yep.
Team America done it second.
Child's Child's Play, love the movies or not, Chucky movies, whatever you want to call them, they are way ahead of their time. They have the transsexual like issue that's been going on lately about like, you know, accepting them for what they are. You have that. You have addiction issues in the movie. You have puppet sex scenes that wasn't even a thing. You have all kinds of shit. Like, it's weird shit to be famous for, but it's still original for its kind.
Yeah.
And Jennifer Tilly.
If it's what was that?
Go ahead.
Do you think it's one of the best ones out of the three?
What, Seed?
Yeah.
Out of which three?
Out of Bride and Curse.
I've not seen Curse. I've not seen Cult because there's 4 of them. Remember, there's Cult, there's Curse.
Oh,
yeah. There's Cult, there's Curse, there's Seed, and then there's Bride. I can't really say out of the 4 if it's the best because I haven't seen 2 of them. But the fact that 2 of them was direct to streaming or whatever they were, I'm just going to go based on the 2. Bride versus Seed. Which one would you pick? I'd go with Bride.
Yeah, I don't know. Seed was all right. Like, again, it's one of those movies that you can just sit down and just not give a fuck about it, but still watch it and have a good time.
Because Bride, the way that they were going with the series was as they ran. It wasn't that they ran out of ideas; they were trying to be original. Yeah. And with Bride of Chucky, they started introducing more of a human side to Chucky, and they're introducing like a relationship aspect. There's more of like a soap opera, horror movie per se. Yeah. Where this one is like a family comedy horror movie, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
And if you watch this movie now, it's very outdated because like there's a scene where Jennifer Tilly was like, who'd the role go to or what happened? Something, I forget what the full conversation was. And she said Anna Nicole Smith. And then like it's outdated. There's a lot of celebrities in there that aren't really celebrities anymore or have since passed. But it's an entertaining movie to watch. And I love Seed for what it was. But if it comes to Bride versus Seed, I'd go with Bride.
Yeah. I'm going to have to watch Bride again. I haven't watched it in a while, but I'll have to rent it.
We should review it.
Yeah. But I think Jennifer Tilly was amazing.
Jennifer Tilly is amazing. And Bride of Chucky was her Child's Play debut.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was her first horror movie, too.
Do you know what other fun fact? Let me interrupt you real quick to see if you know the answer to this. What other major character does she voice as a voice actress?
Family Guy?
Yes. She plays Bonnie Swanson.
Yeah. And, Family Guy.
See, this is the thing a lot of people fail to mention.
Yeah.
Kitty has a point. Seed is definitely at the top of the list when it comes to, like, films that have a lot to it. Because it incorporates just about everything you can think of and manages to surprise you and has plots that others don't. If you think about it, Child's Play movies, this is the most in-depth any of those movies have gotten.
Yeah.
Which could be a good thing or a bad thing for some fans.
Yeah. For a movie that only goes for like an hour and 25 minutes, man, there's so much going on, hey.
And we've missed some things. We've probably missed a lot of things, but we've mentioned the main things.
Yeah, but if you watch it maybe 50 times, you'd be like, oh, I missed out on this. Oh, there's a little Easter egg here that I missed in that movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I think it's...
They're all good movies, in my opinion. Bad or, good or shit, like... I'll do a marathon right now.
Do you think, though, that the Child's Play movie should have ended at Seed? Or do you think we should have gotten a Seed sequel and then ended there?
I reckon they should have done a Seed sequel and then do Curse. Not Curse, the last one that came out.
Cult. The Cult. They should have skipped Curse altogether.
No, they should have done Seed, then the sequel to Seed, and then the last one that came out.
Well,
sense to do it like that way.
There was 2 that came out. There was Curse and Cult.
Okay.
So do you want all those movies to still come out, but be like slightly different scripts so that they go with one another?
I think so, and then go towards the last one that came out, and then end it there.
Because it doesn't make sense to do a sequel but not mention anything that happened in the prior film.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I didn't watch them, to be honest with you. That's why I...
Do you find the Child's Play movies are similar to like the Halloween movies a bit?
I would say they're more so similar to the Scream movies than Halloween.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they both started off as a legit horror movie, and then they started going real meta with it, and they kind of like broke the fourth wall and stuff.
Yeah. Well, like you were saying about Child's Play, how they went full slasher, full horror, full scary, and then it went to like a family comedy horror.
Well, it went into a black comedy film. And for those that don't know what black comedy is, it means it's a comedy film that covers things that normally aren't funny, like deaths and shit like that. So it went from a horror movie into a black comedy, into a family comedy, black comedy type thing. And I like the way
it's kind of like Scream, how it went from being a slasher, the first 2 movies a slasher, then the third and fourth one was sort of like comedy horror a bit.
Yeah, but the thing is, me and a buddy of mine was talking, and we talked about this last night. I didn't post the live, by the way, because we covered some stuff I just wanted to cover here.
Yeah, that's cool.
But what I don't get is people are like, well, Seed sucked, and this sucked, and that sucked. Would you rather not have sequels at all? Or would you rather have sequels? Like, because what can you do with Chucky that they didn't do? What would you have done different if you think that it would have made the series better? There's not much you can do. And the thing is a lot of people don't realize Chucky is a human serial killer trapped in a doll's body. The first movie, he was more of like the killer. Then he starts becoming more and more human, so you start seeing more of the human side. It's naturally going to happen. And I don't like the Child's Play remake. I don't think we're ever going to cover that.
No, that was horrible.
We talked about it on the show.
Even though I still went to the movies and see it.
I didn't.
I did. I went because I just wanted to go to the movies, and then I thought, hopefully this would be all right. But when I first saw the first Chucky, or the remake, it was horrible.
Well, you know why I didn't go see it? This is kind of a weird reason, but a friend of mine and I was talking about it, and I have a few friends that are big Child's Play fans, and my friend was like, I wouldn't go see the new Child's Play when it comes out. I'm like, I'm a Mark Hamill fan. He's like, Mark Hamill deserves better. The movie from the start didn't have original like people. It had Mark Hamill playing Chucky. It had the writers weren't even the same.
No.
This was the remake. I don't even consider a Child's Play movie because it was the first movie to not feature Don Mancini in it. He didn't write it. He didn't direct it. He didn't produce it. He didn't do anything with it. Had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
The movie was so bad that they ended up saying fuck Child's Play movies and made a TV series with Don Mancini to try to right the wrong of that remake.
Even the series is so much better than the remake.
And the TV series might be introducing Seed like into it in like a good way. We might actually get a closure that we never got from Seed of Chucky.
Might have to wait till season 2's coming out soon too, by the way.
I read somewhere that it's been renewed for season 2 and 3.
Well, that's good. I thought season 1 was amazing. I thought it was great. And it's good that they got back the original Chucky look as well.
Well, they also have the original actor playing Chucky.
Yeah, they got is it Alex?
You know what's sad?
The young boy, and then Jennifer Tilly was back in there. So
you know what's really sad? The fact we didn't get to see the Chucky remake is sad. But the fact that they actually had ideas for Seed of Chucky was even sadder. They didn't, if you noticed, all these body splitting, right? You had Jennifer Tilly in the movie being possessed by Tiffany. People are asking, why wasn't Brad Dourif in the movie as Brad Dourif?
Yeah.
And the answer is quite simple. Brad Dourif was going to be introduced in Seed of Chucky, Part 2. When Chucky was going to go after the family, he was probably going to try to possess Brad Dourif's body.
That would have been good.
Never happened.
But it never happened, yeah. You reckon if it did happen, you reckon it would be a good movie to see, though?
I think it would be, but if you noticed, Brad Dourif is in the Chucky series, but he's playing Charles Lee Ray.
Yeah.
So we might be introduced to Brad Dourif in season 2. So I think what's going to happen is Don Mancini wants to right wrongs and shit, because there are a large amount, like, it wasn't a big cult classic back then, but there are a lot of people that do enjoy Seed of Chucky now. So we might get like somewhat of a closure, but he's trying to find a way, I think, to make the fans happy and make those fans happy as well. Because if you notice, the series isn't called Child's Play. The series is called Chucky. And and those movies, Bride and all of those, fans don't consider Child's Play movies. They consider them Chucky movies. So maybe we're going to be introduced to like the universe of Bride and Seed, but we're not going to get a lot of it. We're just going to get enough to please us.
And I reckon it'll be good.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Chucky season 2. I need to watch Chucky.
I might rewatch the first season again.
I need to, because I think I missed a couple episodes. But I need to watch it because I was watching it as it was airing, and I'm like on the edge of my seat, like, oh, what's gonna happen next? But
the plot, I reckon that the pilot, I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, like I was excited because we're getting something new from Chucky from Don Mancini. That's what I was.
It's kind of cool how the younger kids now are discovering what Chucky was, what Chucky really was, you know what I mean? And then that's why they were tracking down Alex and stuff. And then
did they ever explain? Did they ever explain in the TV series how? Did they ever explain in the TV series how Charles Lee Ray ended up in a new good guy doll at a yard sale? Did they ever explain that?
I don't think so. Might have to rewatch that.
Because Chucky is in a new good guy doll. It's not the good guy doll from Seed of Chucky. It's a whole new one. Where can you watch Seed of Chucky? I believe in Australia you can watch it on Netflix. In the United States,
it'll be even on Netflix. If not, you can just rent for $3.
For the United States viewers, I apologize, but it's not available for streaming anywhere. You have to rent it on like YouTube or something for $3.
Yeah.
Now there are some streaming websites that aren't paid. I'm not going to tell you to go to them, but there are a few websites that you can go on that has it. But I think it's worth renting. It's only $3 for like 2 days on YouTube.
Yeah. If you want to buy it for like $8 or $10 or whatever.
So what do you rate? What do you rate Seed of Chucky on a scale of 1 to 10? What do you rate it?
I give it a 7.
I give it a 6.5.
Very close.
The only reason, and I'm kind of petty, it's a dumb reason. The only reason is there's so many like plot holes in the series that are unanswered. Now, it could be because we didn't get a sequel that they're unanswered. But still, like, the movie has a lot of plot holes that are left unanswered. And it just, my review might change after Chucky season 2. Who knows? But as a standalone film, I give it a 7 out of 10. But as a Child's Play film, I give it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah, I gave it a
So I
7.
mean,
I gave it a 7 out of 10 because it's just, again, it's one of those movies that you can just get your friends together and watch a really
cheesy horror film.
cheesy horror movie that you won't give a fuck. You just there to see Chucky and see the kills, and that's it. And maybe some cheesy lines in that. But
Okay,
I
Kitty.
enjoyed it. The more you watch it, I think the more you enjoy it more.
For the fans, for people that will love Child's Play or just want to watch the movie, it's a good standalone film. But I do advise you watch Bride of Chucky first.
Yeah.
I didn't. I haven't seen Bride of Chucky in like 10 years, but I know what happened. So I kind of like,
I haven't seen it in the last 3 years. There you go.
I haven't seen it in about a decade or more. Honestly, I didn't watch Bride of Chucky until like, because my brother had Seed of Chucky on DVD, and that's how I watched it. But I watched Bride of Chucky first with him, but it wasn't my first Child's Play film. Like I said, I watched Child's Play 1 and 2. Then I watched Bride, and I'm like, this has nothing to do with, with anything.
I remember seeing the cover of Child's Play 2 or Child's Play 3 has got Chucky with the scissors. With the Jack in the Box. Is that 3 or 2? I can't remember.
The Jack in the Box scissors one is Child's Play. No, Child's Play 3 is the one where it's just his face.
So it'd be number 2 then.
Child's Play 2 is the one where he's got the scissors and he's cutting off the Jack in the Box head.
I was like really young at the time, and I was at my friend's house, and there was a video tape of that movie that freaked me out. I never watched it, but it freaked me out.
A friend of mine told me that he believes that Child's Play 2 was the best of the series. Now, when it comes to horror movies, you'll notice that a lot of the times they break the rule where sequels aren't as good as the original. Because there's a lot of horror movies where the sequel is better than the first one.
Yeah, like what I was saying to you before, sometimes it seems hard to write a really good sequel after you have a really successful movie from the first one. And it seems hard to continue on.
I got a question, though. What are we reviewing next? Because it's going to be 2 weeks. Are we going to review Bride of Chucky, or do you want to review Friday the 13th Part 1, the one that doesn't have Jason? Or I got another one. I got a third one for you. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Season of the Witch, because I'll tell you why. I watched it for the very first time a few months ago, and I enjoyed it. Fuck the haters. I really enjoyed it. So there you go.
You know what I think they should do? And hear me out on this.
Rob Zombie should remake it.
Not just that. It shouldn't be called Halloween 3. It should be called just Season of the Witch. It should be its own standalone film, remake, and let Rob Zombie do it. Because that movie screams Rob Zombie. Like it does. It has the witches in it. It has everything. Like it.
Heads.
And you know why it was called? I know we're getting away from the review real quick, but in 2 weeks we'll be doing Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, or just called Season of the Witch. The reason why it was called Halloween 3 was the original idea for the Halloween series was release a horror movie on Halloween. Now Halloween 1 and 2, number 2 ended the story. It did. It ended the story. The main character's dead. They're going to move on to a new story with 3, Season of the Witch, because that's why it's called Halloween. It's going to be a Halloween horror movie. Halloween 3 was supposed to introduce new characters, new everything. 4 was supposed to have a ending of Season of the Witch. Then 5 was going to have a whole new horror movie. It was just going to keep going like that. Every 2 movies is just a different movie. Kind of like Tales from the Crypt. But due to the popularity of Michael Myers, they killed the idea.
Yeah. And I try to explain. I'll try to explain that to somebody on the group Facebook Halloween fan page thing on Facebook. People, because all I see is people giving so much hate on Halloween 3 and Rob Zombie's Halloween, and And then I straight up said to him, like, did you know that Halloween was supposed to end at number 2? Because that's the reason why they done Season of the Witch, because Michael Myers and the main character wasn't around.
They didn't make Michael Myers to be what it was. That's why he wears a fucking all-white Captain Kirk mask. Like, they weren't planning on him being this huge phenomenon.
Mm-hmm. And I like the difference between Halloween 78 and Rob Zombie's versions, because they're two different dialogues, and that's what I liked about both of those movies. You know, you can't beat the original, but I thought Rob Zombie did a fantastic job with Halloween.
So we're going to stick with the theme of we're going to do movies that were critical failures but don't deserve to be.
Yeah.
In our opinion. So
yeah, let's do Season of the Witch in 2 weeks' time.
I have a confession to make, because I have a love for the idea of Season of the Witch, but I've not seen it all the way through. Because I love the concept of, like, changing up Halloween, and they really should have. When we revisited Halloween back in 2018, that dismissed Halloween 3. Actually, what dismissed Halloween 3, Kitty, was Halloween 4.
Yeah.
The Return of Michael Myers was the name of it.
That's when you had that. That's when he had that really, really bad Michael Myers mask.
We did, but the thing is about the Return of Michael Myers is they stuck with it being a sequel of 3, and the way that Jamie Lee Curtis's character is still dead.
Yeah.
Which is how it should be.
But instead, my theory on that one, I reckon, they kept her out of the picture for so long, and that's the reason why 20 years later in H2O, she changed the name, changed her identity, and then went to like a private school as a teacher.
Well, the thing is, the Halloween 4 and 5, he's after Jamie Lloyd, who is, you know, the birth child of the Myers family. So it makes sense he's still chasing family blood, so he has a reason to still go. But why bring Jamie Lee Curtis back when she's fucking dead?
I don't know. Contract. They want her back in the franchise.
Yeah,
and, know, she died more than once, too. She died in Resurrection.
Yeah, but wasn't it the first, like, up until Curse of Michael Myers, that even they had kept with the same story, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Jamie Lee Curtis is now alive. Somehow. They never mention how. She's just still alive.
And how dude, and they killed. Then they got off the franchise, or maybe she didn't want to do it anymore until they told her, "Look, it's been 20 years since you last done your last Halloween movie. You want to do it again?"
Going back to what we originally said, though, they killed her off because that was supposed to be the last movie ever made. But like, if you're going to keep continuity, because Halloween H2O is weird because it's the 6th installment, right?
It's my favorite one too.
It's the 6th installment, but it's not a sequel to the 5th movie. It's a sequel to the second movie.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's a whole new storyline.
But even if it's a sequel to the second movie, how in the hell is she still alive? Let's not get into that. We're still talking about Seed of Chucky. Seed of Chucky is a great movie.
Okay. The reason why she's still alive, they revive her. She was in hospital. She's alive. Done. In the story.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense. Anyway, Seed of Chucky, I gave it a 6.5 because as a standalone movie, it's a 7. As a Child's Play movie, it's a 6. I met in the middle. It's a 6.5. You said 7. Let's just say 7.
7? Yeah, for both ways. Well, I don't really care.
Let's just say 7.
For both ways.
It's a great film.
Movie, in my opinion.
It's a great film, but a lot of people hate it because they don't like comedy and horror movies. And I'm sorry, But serial killers have feelings, they have emotions, and they're crazy. So of course they're going to have a sense of humor like that.
Like Bruce Campbell.
Yes, Bruce Campbell. But I'm going to head on out of here. We're going to call this quits for the Pink Sock Reacts. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you, Gorak. And in 2 weeks' time, we're going to be doing Halloween 3, or known as Season of the Witch.
That's the name of my band. Season
of the Witch. But anyway, remember everyone, live long, rock hard, and go check out Gorak's Instagram, Gorak_1985. Is that correct?
That is correct, baby.
Fuck yeah. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Enjoy and have a great Wednesday. And until next time. And also go check out on Audio Vein right now. I just did on audioveinentertainment.com. I just did a Way Back Wednesday. I might not be able to do one next week due to the whole busy week schedule, but I just posted my review of Eyes of Alice Cooper.
Fuck yeah, that's one of my favorite albums too.
I reviewed Eyes of Alice Cooper. It is a great album. I gave it a 8.5 out of 10, which is a great rating for any albums that I do because I very rarely do 9. It is a great Alice album. You'll see what my review is. I do it song by song. So go check it out. And I will see you guys next time. Love you all. And remember, stay happy, stay healthy, live long, rock hard. And I'll see you guys soon.
There be a Kardashian.
Don't be one.